This is Ben from Testive, and we're looking at an SAT reading question. This question is a question stem without a question mark, so you're completing a statement. The narrator regards his actions in this passage as, and it doesn't give you much information about where to look for this information. So we're going to have to look at our answer choices. Typical of a boy his age, able to be justified through reason, representative of negative influences in his life, or forever dooming him to life in prison. So to me, these are all pretty broad statements. So what we need to know is, what is the narrator's point of view? That's basically what this question is asking us. What is the narrator's point of view about himself? Well, we know from reading the passage that the main sort of theme of the passage is an exploration of different reckless acts that the narrator has committed. We get different examples of these throughout the passage. Now, there are a couple things that I feel I can rule out right away. First one is able to be justified through reason. Just from looking at this first paragraph, I can see that he says, "Some may ask why I committed such a rash act. There was no particular reason for doing such a thing." And this is a theme throughout the passage. So we're going to rule that out. Typical of a boy of his age. Well, this one I'm probably not going to pick, because if this were just normal behavior, if he thought his behavior was normal, there wouldn't really be much purpose to describing how reckless he was in such detail. It wouldn't be really a topic of any interest, right? He doesn't frame it as normal. I'm not going to rule it out yet, but that's my thinking on that one. Forever dooming him to life in prison. Well, if I just finished reading this passage, I might accidentally choose this one because I have some recollection that this is mentioned. But in fact, at the end of the passage, what happens is his mother says he's so reckless that I worry about his future. And he says, I make it through life only narrowly avoiding becoming a jailbird. So in fact, he's saying, I'm almost doomed to a life in prison, but not quite. So that leaves us with typical of a boy of his age, or representative of negative influences in his life. Well, he takes some responsibility for his actions in this passage, but this is where it's important to have a sense of paraphrasing the narrator's point of view right at the beginning. So if I read these first few sentences, because of inherited recklessness, I've been playing a losing game since my childhood. During my grammar school days, I was once out of commission for about a week when I jumped from the second story of a school building. Okay, so he gives this example, but he attributes it to what? To inherited recklessness. Inherited recklessness, to me, says that his actions are a result of influences on him that are out of his control. That's what an inheritance is. It's in your genetics, right? Or it's in your nature or in your nurture, but it's not you. So if I'm choosing between the first and third answer choice, I'm going to choose that one because I don't like the first one. Not because I think this one is perfect, but because I see some evidence for it, and the first one is really not supported at all, and in fact is kind of antithetical to the passage.